Driverless cars are no longer science fiction. We're already sharing our roadways with vehicles that are increasingly connected and becoming more and more autonomous. Ontario was the first province in Canada to develop a formal driverless car pilot project in 2016, and the first testing of a driverless car on Ontario roads is set to commence shortly at the University of Waterloo. Driverless cars rely heavily on information sharing in order to understand their surrounding environments. They use this information to navigate safely from point A to point B. From a cybersecurity perspective, this reliance on information sharing presents a number of unique challenges and risks for auto manufacturers and technology developers.
Driverless cars collect massive amounts of information in order to make navigation decisions in real time. Some of this information may even meet the broad definition of personal information according to Canadian privacy laws. As driverless cars are vehicles, they are obviously designed to travel into far-reaching areas. It is important to consider that some of the areas that these cars travel to may increase the risk of inadvertent disclosure of important information. While these cars need to collect and share information in order to function properly, it is important that they comply with all applicable laws while doing so. Manufacturers and developers need to recognize that these cars are likely to cross borders and enter into jurisdictions that regulate the protection of information in materially different ways. For this reason, developers of driverless cars are encouraged to program broad security controls in order to ensure that vehicles comply with the laws of each jurisdiction that they are likely to travel into.
Driverless cars need to constantly collect information about the environment around them. To do so, a driverless car's computer uses wireless networks to transmit data about the car's surroundings in real time. This data is processed by a car's computer and possibly also by an external central hub controlled by the manufacturer. This information may also be stored in the cloud. In addition to collecting information about surrounding environment, driverless cars are also expected to collect information about their own passengers, including, in some instances, biometric data. Driverless cars will seek and collect biometric data about drivers in order to enhance road safety and prevent accidents. They may use inward-facing cameras and biometric sensors to monitor driver alertness and behavior. One example is cars using eye tracking technology to determine whether a driver is ready to assume manual control of the car. All of this is personal information that can be collected and stored by the car's systems.
Canadian privacy laws require organizations to put in place security controls that protect the personal information that they collect, use, and share. The importance of these controls is amplified by the mobility of driverless cars. These cars are expected to collect and share information from a wide variety of sources across multiple jurisdictions. While the evolution of driverless car capability is really exciting from a convenience perspective, the greater responsibility and power that is delegated to driverless cars also creates a meaningful risk to privacy, injury, and property damages if these vehicles fail, mishandle personal information, or operate improperly. Any connected device is vulnerable to being hacked. As driverless cars become more widespread, the number of vulnerabilities that can be exploited is just going to grow. This risk gets even bigger when driverless cars interact with third-party devices and cloud service providers. When multiple devices are connected, there is a risk that a weak link in any of them can be exploited to compromise them all. In 2015, it was reported that a group of hackers successfully interfered with the brakes and steering of a driverless car. In other cases, hackers reportedly unlocked car doors, turned on windshield wipers, and disabled the brakes of a moving car. When it comes to cars, there is no question that cybersecurity should be a priority.
Manufacturers and developers will need to consider the cybersecurity risks at play with driverless cars. Some of the steps that developers and manufacturers should take include: 1. Conducting regular security risk assessments or threat impact assessments early in the design and manufacture process. 2. Considering how driverless cars will interact with other connected vehicles, devices, or infrastructure, and what their options are to reduce those risks. And 3. Taking steps to confirm that any service providers that driverless cars are able to connect with are appropriately addressing security issues and legal requirements themselves. Like all transformational technologies, driverless cars come with incredible opportunities, but those opportunities have associated cybersecurity risks. Have a look at our article for more information about these risks and how you might best approach them.